One of our favorite family dinners from my youngest daughter's perspective is chicken parmesan, and she requested that I do a video to show you how to make it. You can also use veal and you follow the exact same process except you use white veal scallopini instead of a chicken breast. Chicken breast, I've cut it in half so it's nice and thin. That way it'll cook quickly and evenly. You'll need some flour, milk and an egg to make an egg wash, some breadcrumbs, tomato sauce, and you can use any type of tomato sauce, but I have this left over from Sloppy Joe's earlier this week. Got pesto and olive oil, and of course salt and pepper. And of course you'll need some mozzarella cheese and some Parmesan cheese. You're going to want to portion some flour out. Just put some, you can do it on a plate. I do it in an oval dish so it doesn't get too messy. You're going to do your egg wash, which is simply cracking your egg, whisking in a little bit of milk until it's all mixed together, and then another container with your breadcrumbs. Okay. First thing we want to do is season the chicken with seasoning salt and pepper. Repeat the process on the other side. Next, we want to dip it in the flour, then the egg wash, and then the breadcrumbs. So we're going to put it in the flour so that the egg wash sticks to the chicken. Dip it in the egg wash, and then into the breadcrumbs, and then just cover each piece with the breadcrumbs. And then place it on the plate. Repeat the process with the remaining chicken. All right, let's cook this up. Over medium heat in a large skillet, you're going to heat up some olive oil. Be generous. You want the pan to get nice and hot and the oil nice and hot before you cook the chicken. Otherwise, what will happen is the chicken and the breading will absorb the grease and you'll end up with a soggy dinner. I test the temperature of the oil just by flicking a little bit of water in the pan. If it bubbles and sizzles, then it's good to go. We'll take some chicken, make sure the oil is around the whole pan. There we go. And we're going to cook this until a couple things happen. The chicken gets nice and golden brown on the outside and it's cooked. Now, I like to rotate the chicken while it's cooking just to make sure it cooks nice and evenly and gets golden brown on all sides. Oh yeah, this is coming up real nice. You can see that's a beautiful golden brown. We'll give it another minute or so. Actually, that's done on that side, so we're going to turn it over. Flip that over. When I first started doing chicken parmesan, I didn't cut the chicken breast in half and found that it was usually raw inside or didn't get fully cooked. So after a few failed attempts, realized that if I cut the chicken breast in half so it's nice and thin, it's going to cook more evenly, it's going to cook faster, and it's going to taste better. I always check the chicken just to make sure it's cooked before I pull it off. The last thing I want to do is pull it off before it's completely cooked. So just a little cut. And yes, it's cooked all the way through. Woohoo! We'll take this off. Put it on a baking sheet that's been lined with parchment paper. Alright, so we have our chicken on our baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on pesto, tomato sauce, and cheese, and then we're going to broil it in the oven. This is a secret ingredient, and it's pesto. I used to make chicken parmesan without pesto, and then I tried it in a restaurant, believe it or not, in Mexico, and found that the pesto gives it such a different flavor profile and really makes a difference in the overall taste of the chicken. You don't need a lot. One of the things I find with restaurants is they tend to over sauce and over cheese their veal parmesan or chicken parmesan, and you don't need a lot of any of these. I'm going to take tomato sauce, and you can use whatever tomato sauce you want. I often use white linen, which is a marinara sauce, which is really good, but you can use anything you want. And again, the key here is not to put on too much. You just want a light covering. Now we're going to put cheese on. And once again, you don't want to overdo it with the cheese. Sprinkle it with some grated Parmesan. And now we're going to broil this in the oven at 500 degrees. So put your broiler on. Typically it's 500 degrees. And keep an eye on it because it's only going to take a couple of minutes. Okay, so we'll put this under the broiler. And we'll keep a close eye on it so it doesn't burn. But we just want the cheese to get nice and brown. So the chicken's been under the broiler for a few minutes. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, it looks perfect. All right, so I'm going to transfer it from the tray to the plate. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit of parsley. And a piece de resistance. Some fresh basil. This adds that great Italian flavor to it. And there we go. Let's get dinner on the table.